Exactly 15 minutes before the 2 o'clock in the morning raid, Maya Williams's secure phone vibrated on the kitchen counter. She looked at the screen and saw no number, caller identification, or authentication tag. The message had been sent through an encrypted channel and included a photograph. Maya opened the image. A dark SUV was parked outside her front gate with its headlights off. 2 men were inside. The driver leaned toward the dashboard, making his face easy to recognize. Daniel Mercer. Maya enlarged the photograph and studied it carefully. Mercer wore a dark department jacket, but there was no marked police vehicle nearby, no emergency equipment in use, and no visible backup. The man in the passenger seat turned slightly. Officer Noah Reed. Maya read the message beneath the photograph. They think your house is full of dirty money, but they don't know who you really are. Tonight, do you choose to be the hunter or the prey? She read it again before locking the screen. Emily Carter entered the kitchen wearing a gray cardigan over loose slacks. She had been staying in the guest room and had clearly noticed that Maya had become unusually quiet. What happened? Emily asked. Someone wants me to know we're being watched. Emily stopped beside the kitchen island. By who? I don't know. Maya walked to the security panel and checked the exterior cameras. She reviewed the front gate, driveway, side entrance, and rear of the property. There was no SUV on any of the feeds. She returned to the photograph on her phone. Emily moved closer. Maybe the picture was taken earlier. It wasn't. How do you know? The image is current. Emily looked toward the security monitor. Then why can't your cameras see their vehicle? Maya did not answer immediately. The photograph had clearly been taken from an angle that was not covered by her own system. Someone had access to another camera outside the property. More importantly, Maya had not known that camera existed. Her phone vibrated again. A second encrypted message appeared. Don't call local police. Emily read it over Maya's shoulder. That sounds like somebody trying to help you. It could also be someone trying to control what I do. What do you want to do? Nothing yet. Emily stared at her. 2 police officers are sitting outside your house in the middle of the night, and somebody we don't know is sending you pictures of them. I know. Shouldn't we leave? Maya shook her head. Not until I understand why someone wants us to. Emily lowered her voice. You think the warning could be part of whatever is happening? Yes. Maya set the phone on the counter and checked the security feeds again. Nothing had changed. At 52, she had spent enough time dealing with difficult people and sensitive situations to know that an urgent warning did not automatically deserve trust. The sender had provided useful information, but that did not explain their purpose. Emily folded her arms. Do you know Mercer? I know him. That sounds different from knowing why he's outside. It is. Emily waited. Maya understood that avoiding the question would only make Emily more nervous. Mercer has been asking questions about me, she said. For how long? Long enough for me to notice. What kind of questions? Mercer appeared at the end of the hallway with Noah a few steps behind him. Both men wore dark department jackets over plain tactical clothing. Mercer carried a restraint case clipped to his belt, a collapsible baton, and an electronic control device. Noah carried similar equipment, but unlike Mercer, he kept both hands visible and away from it. On your knees, Miss Williams, Mercer ordered. Maya remained where she was. Show me the warrant. Mercer continued forward. You can discuss paperwork downtown. That isn't an answer. It's the only one you need right now. Maya watched him carefully. There was no active body camera on the front of his jacket. Noah's camera was dark as well. Neither man had entered with a marked evidence team, a supervising officer, or anyone assigned to document the search. She looked at Noah. Officer Reed, are you executing a search warrant? Noah hesitated. Mercer turned toward him. Don't answer her. That hesitation told Maya more than a denial would have. Emily stayed several feet behind Maya, silent but tense. Mercer pointed toward the floor. Last warning. Get down. Maya did not move. Sergeant Mercer, if you have lawful authority to search this house, show it to me. His expression hardened. You think because you know a few legal terms you get to dictate how this works? No. I think the law does. Noah shifted his weight. Mercer noticed. Reed, secure the room. Noah moved toward the kitchen entrance, but did not approach Maya or Emily directly. Maya kept her attention on Mercer. Authority isn't the same thing as permission. You've spent months acting like you know more about police work than the people doing it. This has nothing to do with what I know. Mercer gave a short laugh. That's exactly what this is about. He stepped closer and lowered his voice. For months, you've been telling people that officers in this department abuse procedure. You've questioned reports, made complaints, and acted like every decision we make needs your approval. I questioned records that didn't make sense. You questioned me? If the records were yours, then yes. Noah looked down. Mercer continued. And while you were busy examining everybody else, nobody was asking questions about you. Maya said nothing. That seemed to encourage him. This house costs more than most people in this neighborhood will earn in a lifetime. You claim you left corporate consulting, but nobody can explain who still pays you. Different vehicles come through here. People arrive and leave without talking to the neighbors. You keep your financial life private. Privacy isn't probable cause. Mercer's jaw tightened. Maybe not by itself. Then show me what is. For the first time, he looked irritated rather than confident. Noah stepped closer. Sergeant, maybe we should just show her the paperwork. Mercer turned sharply. There is no reason to debate this with her. Maya looked directly at Noah. You haven't seen a warrant either, have you? Noah's eyes met hers for only a moment. Ma'am, please cooperate. His tone was careful and respectful. Very different from Mercer's. Maya noticed that too. Officer Reed, I am cooperating. I am asking whether you entered my home under lawful authority. If you feel for Maya, a black woman standing calmly in her own home and asking only whether the officers who forced their way inside have lawful authority, please like this video. Tell us in the comments where you are watching from, because someone near you may be following Maya's story too. Subscribe to the channel so you do not miss the next powerful story. Mercer stepped between them. Enough. He reached toward the restraint case on his belt. Emily moved slightly closer to Maya. Mercer pointed at her. You stay exactly where you are. Emily stopped. Who is she? He asked. A guest. What kind of guest? The kind who doesn't have to answer questions from a man who broke into the house. Mercer stared at Maya for several seconds. Then he turned to Noah. Start with the living room and kitchen. Look for cash, ledgers, packaged narcotics, anything tied to Kane. Emily's expression changed at the name. Maya noticed. Mercer noticed too. There, he said. That got a reaction. Emily answered before Maya could stop her. I know the name from the news. Of course you do. Maya stepped slightly into Mercer's line of sight. What exactly do you believe you're looking for? Mercer smiled without warmth. A source says you're holding money for Victor Kane. Maya gave him no reaction. Mercer continued. A lot of money. More than $1 million in cash, according to him. He also says you've got financial records. Kane doesn't want found, and narcotics stored somewhere inside the property. Noah looked at Mercer. You said the source only mentioned cash and documents. Mercer did not answer him. Noah pressed the point. You never said anything about narcotics. Now you know. Maya watched the exchange. When did your source add that detail? Mercer looked back at her. You don't get to interview me. No. But he does. She nodded toward Noah. If he's participating in this search, he has a right to know what authority and information you're relying on. Noah's discomfort became more visible. Sergeant, is a warrant actually being processed? Mercer's patience broke. We have credible intelligence. We move first, we secure what's here, and command handles the paperwork afterward. Noah stared at him. That's not what you told me in the car. Lower your voice. You said everything was already approved. Mercer moved closer to him. I said the situation was covered. That isn't the same thing. Mercer glanced toward Maya, clearly aware that she was listening. Then he spoke more quietly. You want to walk out now? Fine. Walk out and explain why you abandoned an active search after seeing indicators of organized criminal activity. We haven't seen any. We just got here. Noah did not respond. Maya understood what Mercer was doing. He was no longer persuading Noah. He was reminding him that Mercer controlled the report that would be written later. Emily seemed to understand it too. Mercer turned back to Maya. You've made a habit of assuming everyone else is hiding something. No, Maya said. I make a habit of checking. His eyes narrowed. You're going to wish you had kept your questions to yourself. Maya held his gaze. That sounds less like police work and more like a personal problem. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Mercer opened the tactical bag hanging at his side just far enough to check its contents. Noah saw what was inside. His face changed immediately. Daniel. Mercer closed the bag. Maya caught the use of the first name. What is it? She asked. Noah looked away. Mercer said, Nothing that concerns you. But Maya had already understood something important. Whatever was inside that bag had not been part of the story Noah had been given. Mercer pointed toward the hallway. Start searching. Noah remained still. Mercer's voice dropped. That's an order. Noah finally moved toward the living room, but his pace was slow. As he passed Maya, she said quietly, You can still ask him to show you the warrant. Noah stopped for half a second. Mercer heard her. Read. 2. Noah continued walking. Maya watched him go. He had entered the house believing Mercer knew more than he was saying. Now, before the search had even properly begun, Noah was starting to suspect that Mercer had brought him there because he knew far less than he claimed. Noah began with the living room, opening drawers and checking cabinets without disturbing more than necessary. Mercer stayed near Maya, watching her as if he expected a sudden mistake that would justify everything he had already done. Maya kept her hands where he could see them. Emily remained several feet behind her, quiet now, following Maya's earlier instruction not to volunteer information. Mercer removed a pair of handcuffs from his belt. Turn around, he said. Maya looked at the cuffs instead of moving. Department issue? Mercer paused. What? Those restraints. Are they department issue? His expression changed slightly. Maya continued in the same calm voice. Because if they are, they'll have an inventory number. Noah stopped searching. Mercer glanced toward him, then back at Maya. You seem very interested in procedure. I'm interested in what happens inside my house. I'm securing you during a lawful search. You still haven't shown me anything establishing that this search is lawful. Mercer stepped closer. Turn around. Maya did not resist, but she did not turn immediately either. Her attention remained on the handcuffs. Use the department pair, she said. Mercer stared at her. Noah spoke from across the room. Sergeant, she's not resisting. I know what she's doing, Maya answered. I'm asking a simple question. Mercer returned the cuffs to his belt. Then he reached into a side compartment of his tactical bag and removed another pair. These had no visible department markings. Noah saw them. So you brought your own? He asked. Mercer ignored him. Maya turned slowly and placed her hands behind her back without being told again. Mercer took one wrist. But before closing the cuff, Maya said, If you restrain me with equipment that isn't logged to the department, you should probably be prepared to explain why you had it ready. His grip loosened. For the first time since entering the house, Mercer seemed uncertain about what she knew. He released her wrist. You enjoy this, don't you? He asked. Enjoy what? Making everything sound suspicious. Maya turned to face him again. You entered my home without showing a warrant. Your body camera is off. You brought unmarked restraints. I don't have to make any of that sound suspicious. Noah lowered his eyes. Mercer put the cuffs back into the bag with more force than necessary. Search the kitchen, he told Noah. I already checked the obvious places. Then check again. Noah opened a lower cabinet and looked inside. Daniel, if there's supposed to be more than $1 million here, where exactly did your source say it was? Mercer's response came quickly. Hidden. That could mean anywhere. That's why we search. Noah shut the cabinet. And if we don't find it? Mercer did not answer. Noah waited. What if the tip is wrong? Maya watched Mercer closely. He turned toward Noah with the controlled irritation of someone who believed a subordinate had asked one question too many. Then we make sure it isn't. Silence followed. Emily looked at Maya. Noah straightened. What does that mean? You know what it means. No, I don't. Mercer stepped toward the kitchen island and placed his tactical bag on it. You think cases are always clean? He asked. You think people who move money for men like Kane leave receipts on the counter? That isn't what I asked. Mercer opened the bag. Maya could not see everything inside from where she stood, but Noah could. His face tightened immediately. Where did you get that? Mercer shifted his body, partially blocking Maya's view. Evidence storage. Noah stared at him. You took it out? I signed nothing out. That's worse. Keep your voice down. Maya said nothing. Mercer looked at her, then closed the bag. Noah moved closer. Tell me, that isn't what I think it is. It's insurance. Insurance against what? Against walking out of here with nothing. Noah shook his head. You told me we were coming in because you had reliable intelligence. Would do. Then why bring evidence from another case? Mercer's voice hardened. Because reliable intelligence doesn't guarantee cooperation. Maya understood immediately. The bag had not been brought for collection. It had been brought for placement. Emily seemed to reach the same conclusion. She opened her mouth, but Maya gave her a small look, and Emily stayed silent. Noah lowered his voice. You said we were going to confirm the tip. We are. This isn't confirming anything. Mercer stepped closer to him. You want to have a crisis of conscience. Do it after we're done. No. I want to know what you expect me to write in the report. You'll write what happened. And what exactly is that supposed to be? Mercer looked toward Maya before answering. That we received credible information. We entered under exigent circumstances. We secured the occupants. We found evidence consistent with narcotics distribution and financial crimes. Noah stared at him. We haven't found any of that. Mercer's eyes hardened. Not yet. Maya finally spoke. So the report already exists in your head. Mercer turned toward her. Stay out of this. You brought it into my house. This has nothing to do with you anymore. Maya almost smiled, but did not. That's an interesting thing to say during a search of my home. Mercer grabbed the tactical bag and moved it away from the island. Noah followed him with his eyes. Daniel, this can still stop here. No, it can't. It can if we leave. And then what? You explained to Internal Affairs why you walked away from a major narcotics investigation? There is no narcotics investigation. Mercer stepped close enough that Noah lowered his voice. There will be. Maya felt her secure phone vibrate once inside her pocket. She did not reach for it. Not while Mercer was watching. But the timing mattered. Someone had sent another message, immediately after the argument. Someone appeared to know that Noah was pulling away from Mercer. Maya looked toward the ceiling camera she had checked earlier, then toward the hallway. The question was no longer whether Mercer intended to manufacture a crime. He had just admitted enough for Maya to understand that. The more important question was who knew he would do it before he ever walked through her door. Mercer lifted the bag again. Upstairs, he said to Noah. We finished the search. Noah remained where he was. Mercer looked back at him. You coming? After a long moment, Noah followed. Maya watched both men leave the room. On the kitchen counter, her untouched coffee sat beside the place where Mercer had set the unmarked cuffs. For the first time that night, she had proof that Mercer had prepared for something far beyond a legitimate search. Now she needed to learn who else had prepared for it too. Maya waited until Mercer and Noah were halfway up the stairs before reaching into her pocket. The message on her secure phone was short. Reed is afraid. Mercer is angry. Neither one is the real problem. She read it once, then locked the screen. Emily moved closer. Another message? Yes. What did it say? That Mercer may not be the person we should be most concerned about. Emily looked toward the staircase. That doesn't make me feel better. It shouldn't. Maya opened the security panel on the kitchen wall and checked the active connections again. Nothing appeared unusual. No unauthorized device was listed, and the internal cameras showed only the rooms they were supposed to show. That did not explain how someone knew about the argument between Mercer and Noah. Her phone began vibrating again, but this time, it was an incoming call. The name on the display was Evelyn Price. Maya answered. Evelyn. Maya. I'm seeing irregular traffic through the neighborhood security network. Your block is showing repeated access failures. Evelyn's voice was controlled and professional. She worked as a civilian cybersecurity auditor and had previously reviewed municipal security systems used throughout Cedar Grove. Maya looked toward the stairs. How did you know to check my block? There was a brief pause. I didn't start with your house. Several nodes in the area are reporting errors. What kind of errors? Camera interruptions, authentication requests, a few devices dropping offline and reconnecting. Maya looked at the exterior feeds. My cameras are still working. I said the neighborhood network, not necessarily your private system. The answer was reasonable. Maya still did not relax. Evelyn, did you send me a message tonight? Another pause followed. What message? Maya noticed the wording immediately. I asked whether you sent one, and I'm asking what you received. You can answer first. Evelyn lowered her voice. Maya, if somebody is contacting you anonymously, don't assume they're helping you. That still isn't an answer. No, I didn't send you anything. Maya listened carefully. Are you alone? Why? Because you called me about a security problem before I reported one. Evelyn did not answer immediately. I saw the network activity and thought you should know. Why me? You live inside the affected area. So do several hundred other people. Maya. Yes? If there is something happening at your house, you need to tell me. Maya looked toward Emily. Why? Because I may be able to identify what's interfering with the system. Then identify it. The line went quiet. Maya checked the display. The call had ended. Emily stared at her. She hung up? Yes. Do you trust her? I trust that she knows more than she just told me. A sound came from upstairs. Mercer's voice followed. Reed. Get over here. Maya moved toward the bottom of the staircase but stayed where she could still see Emily. Noah answered from somewhere above. What did you find? Just come here. Maya listened as footsteps crossed the second floor. Emily whispered. Should we stop them? Not yet. You keep saying that. Because every time Mercer moves, someone else seems to know where he's going. Maya's phone vibrated. A new anonymous message appeared. He found the wall. Maya looked up immediately. Emily noticed. What? Maya showed her the screen. Emily's face tightened. How could they know that? That's what I intend to find out. Upstairs. Mercer called down. Miss Williams. Maya did not answer. His voice came again. You should come see this. She started up the stairs, with Emily following several steps behind. Mercer and Noah were standing at the end of a short hallway near a section of wall between two rooms. The paneling looked ordinary unless someone examined it closely. Mercer had already pulled a narrow decorative table away from it. He pointed to a vertical seam. This wasn't on the building plan. Maya said nothing. Noah ran his hand along the surface. There's no handle. Mercer knocked against the wall. The sound was different from the surrounding construction. He did it again. This section is reinforced. Noah looked at Maya. What's behind it? You entered my house without a warrant. I'm not helping you search it. Mercer turned toward her. You've got a concealed reinforced door in a residential property, and you think I'm supposed to ignore that? I think you're supposed to follow the law. This is exactly what my source said. Hidden rooms, hidden money, private access. Noah looked at him. Your source never mentioned a hidden room. Mercer ignored the correction. He examined the seam and found a small recessed panel, almost invisible beneath the trim. Electronic access. Noah stepped back. Daniel, this is getting worse. For her. No. For us. Mercer looked at him. Noah lowered his voice. We came in here without a warrant. We found no cash, no narcotics except what you brought. And now we're trying to open a reinforced door we don't understand. Mercer gave him a hard look. You're letting her get inside your head. I'm looking at what's in front of me. Maya watched both men. Noah was no longer merely nervous. He was beginning to challenge Mercer directly. Her phone vibrated again. This message contained only 2 words. Leave now. Maya read it twice. Then the recessed access panel beside the concealed door illuminated. A soft mechanical click came from another section of the hallway. A narrow side passage unlocked. Emily noticed it first. Maya. The passage offered a direct route away from Mercer and Noah. Maya looked at the open access point. Then, at the message. Someone wanted her to use it. Mercer was still focused on the concealed door. Noah was watching him. For several seconds, Maya considered the choice. If the anonymous source truly wanted to protect her, leaving might be the safest option. If the source wanted her removed from the house, using that passage would give them exactly what they wanted. Maya reached over and closed the access panel. The lock engaged. Emily stared at her. Why did you do that? Because I'm done following instructions from someone who won't identify themselves. Mercer turned. What was that door? Maya looked at him. Not your concern. He stepped toward her. Everything in this house is my concern now. No. That's what you keep telling yourself. Mercer returned to the reinforced section and examined the access panel more aggressively. Noah stayed several feet behind him. Maya, Emily said quietly. If you had a way out, why stay? Maya kept her attention on Mercer. Because somebody went to a lot of trouble to get him here. She looked at her phone again. And now they want me gone. Elsewhere. On a monitor Maya could not see. A live data feed displayed the interior hallway. Mercer stood beside the concealed door. Noah remained behind him. Maya and Emily were visible at the opposite end of the frame. A cursor moved across the screen. The name Maya Williams appeared in a status window. Beneath it, a new line was entered. Phase 1 complete. Mercer kept working at the concealed panel, but the access control did not respond to anything he tried. After several failed attempts, he stepped back and examined the surrounding wall more carefully. "This isn't normal residential construction," he said. Noah looked at the ceiling, then along the baseboard. "There's separate wiring running through this section." Mercer crouched and followed the line with his eyes. Backup power. Maya stayed several feet away with Emily beside her. She said nothing. Mercer stood. "You want to explain why a private house needs redundant power and a reinforced interior door?" "No. You don't think that looks suspicious? I think you already decided what everything means before you walked in." Mercer moved toward another section of the hallway and noticed a small camera mounted higher than the others. He pointed to it. "That one isn't connected to the same system downstairs." Maya did not respond. Noah studied it. "How can you tell?" "Different housing, different cable route." Mercer turned toward Maya. "Independent cameras, reinforced doors, backup electrical systems. What exactly are you running here?" "A home you entered without a warrant." That answer is getting old. The question hasn't changed. Mercer looked toward Noah. "Check the rooms on this floor." Noah hesitated. "We haven't established any legal basis to go farther." Mercer stared at him. "We've established more than enough." "No, we've found unusual construction." "Which supports the source." "It supports the fact that the house has unusual construction." Mercer shook his head. "This is why people get away with things. Everyone wants every fact wrapped in a confession before they act." Noah looked at Maya, then back at Mercer. "Or maybe we're supposed to know what a fact actually proves." Mercer did not answer. He walked into the nearest room and began opening cabinets. Noah remained in the hallway. His attention shifted to Maya. "You recognize the cuffs downstairs?" "Yes." "You knew about inventory numbers?" "Yes." "You knew what should happen with a warrant. Body cameras, evidence handling, and search documentation." Maya waited. Noah lowered his voice. "Who are you?" Mercer stopped searching long enough to listen. Maya met Noah's eyes. "Right now? The woman whose house you entered without a warrant." Noah let out a slow breath. "That's not what I mean." "I know." "Then answer the question." "No." Mercer gave a short laugh from inside the room. "She thinks being difficult makes her look innocent." Maya turned toward him. "No. I think answering questions I'm not required to answer would make your job easier." Mercer returned to the hallway carrying a folder. "Maybe I don't need your answers anymore." He opened it. Several financial statements were clipped together inside. The name Victor Kane appeared on the first page. Noah stepped closer. Mercer's expression changed immediately. "There it is." Maya looked at the documents but did not move. Mercer held up the folder. "Victor Kane. I can read. You want to tell me why his financial records are in your house?" "No." Mercer smiled. "Still refusing?" "I'm wondering why they were that easy to find." His smile faded. Noah looked from the folder to Maya. "What do you mean?" "The room wasn't locked." "So?" "The folder was sitting inside the first cabinet he opened," Mercer said. "Maybe you got careless." "Maybe." He studied her face. "You don't look surprised." "I'm not surprised you found what you were looking for." "That sounds like an admission." "No. It sounds like an observation." Noah took the folder from Mercer and looked through the pages. "These are transaction summaries." Mercer nodded. "Exactly. Between Kane Logistics and 3 subsidiaries." "Keep reading." Noah turned another page. Nothing on the surface identified a crime. There were company names, transfer amounts, account references, and signatures. "This doesn't prove anything by itself." Mercer took the folder back. "It proves she has material connected to Kane." Maya answered. "You already claimed your source told you that. And now I've confirmed it. You found a folder placed where you could find it." Mercer's jaw tightened. "You're trying too hard." "No. I'm asking you to think about why someone would hide important records in an unlocked cabinet during a search they supposedly expected." Noah looked at the folder again. Mercer noticed his reaction. "Don't start." "I didn't say anything." "You didn't have to." Noah walked into the room and checked the cabinet himself. Beside the financial records were ordinary household papers, property tax correspondence, insurance renewal documents, a notice from the Cedar Grove Homeowners Association. He pulled out one of the envelopes and compared it with the Kane folder. The other papers are organized by date. Mercer looked impatient. And this folder isn't. Maya watched Noah. He continued. Everything else in here looks like normal filing. This was pushed in front. Mercer stepped toward him. You're inventing problems. I'm noticing one. You think she planted it herself to make us look bad? I don't know what I think. That's your problem, Maya said. Not knowing should make you more careful, Sergeant, not less. Mercer turned sharply toward her. You've been doing this from the second we came in. Every piece of evidence becomes somebody else's setup. Every question becomes a violation. That folder may be genuine. Mercer looked surprised by the answer. Maya continued. But genuine documents can still be placed somewhere for a reason. Emily had been silent, but she finally spoke. Who else knew you were coming here? Mercer looked at her. Stay out of this. It matters. No, it doesn't. Noah looked at Mercer. Actually, it does. Mercer's patience thinned further. Why? If the source knew enough to send us to a specific house, knew about Kane, knew about hidden money, and maybe knew about the construction, then we should know who that source is. You don't need the name. I need to know whether the information was verified. It was. By who? By me. Noah stared at him. That's not verification. Mercer stepped closer. Be careful. Noah did not back away. I am being careful. Maya watched the exchange without interrupting. The tension between the two officers was becoming more useful than anything she could say. Mercer finally took the folder and placed it inside his tactical bag. Maya noticed immediately. That stays in the house, unless you document the seizure. Mercer looked at her. You really can't help yourself. No. I can't help noticing when evidence changes hands without a record. Noah looked at the bag. Mercer saw him looking. Enough. We keep searching. He moved toward the next room. Noah waited until Mercer was several steps away, then spoke quietly to Maya. You knew that folder was wrong before we did. I knew it was convenient. Same thing? No. He studied her again. You still won't tell me who you are. Maya looked toward Mercer. Noah, you should be asking a different question. What question? Who wanted him to find that folder? Noah followed her gaze. For the first time, his concern was no longer focused only on Mercer. Someone else was shaping the search, and every new discovery made that possibility harder to ignore. Mercer moved toward the west side of the second floor, still carrying the folder he had taken from the cabinet. Noah followed several steps behind, but his attention kept returning to Maya. A vibration came from Mercer's jacket. He stopped, checked his phone, and turned the screen away from the others. Noah noticed. Who is that? Nobody you need to worry about. You've been getting messages since we came in. Mercer slipped the phone back into his pocket. My source is still active. Maya watched him change direction. He had been heading toward the next room. Now he walked directly toward the west end of the hallway. That was too specific to ignore. Her own secure phone vibrated inside her pocket. She waited until Mercer was several steps ahead before checking it. He's heading upstairs. Maya read the message without changing her expression. The sender had told her something she already knew. That was not the important part. The important part was timing. Mercer had just received a message of his own. Someone might be communicating with both of them. Mercer stopped outside a room at the west end of the hall. Open it. Maya remained where she was. You've been opening every other door yourself. This one is locked. Then perhaps you should take that as a sign. Mercer looked at Noah. Check the frame. Noah did not move immediately. What exactly did your source tell you? Mercer stared at him. Why? Because you came straight here, after checking your phone. Mercer's expression hardened. Second floor, west room, floor compartment. Maya said nothing, but Emily looked toward her. Noah frowned. Your source knows the layout? Apparently. Earlier you said the source knew about cash and records. Information develops. During an illegal search? Mercer stepped closer. Watch yourself. Noah held his ground. I'm trying to understand why somebody outside this house knows exactly where you should look next. Mercer lowered his voice. You want to argue about procedure? Do it later. Procedure is the only thing keeping this from becoming whatever you decide it is. Maya listened carefully. Mercer had stopped treating Noah as a partner. He was beginning to treat him as a problem. That could become dangerous in a different way, even without physical violence. Maya needed to know how quickly information was moving. She turned slightly toward Emily and spoke loudly enough for Mercer to hear. "The documents aren't in that room." Emily looked at her, confused. Maya continued. "If they're looking for the Kane records, they should be checking the East office." Emily understood immediately and said nothing. Mercer's head turned. Noah saw it too. Mercer hesitated for only a moment before leaving the West room and walking back down the hall. "Where are you going?" Noah asked. "East office." Noah stopped. "Why?" Mercer kept moving. "You just said your source told you West." "I heard what she said." Maya followed at a measured pace. "And now you trust me?" Mercer looked back. "You were trying to misdirect us. Was I?" He did not answer. Noah stared at Maya. She could see that he understood what she had done. Mercer reached the East office and tested the door. Unlocked. He entered and immediately began opening drawers. Maya stayed outside. Noah leaned closer to her. "There aren't any Kane documents in there, are there?" "No. You said that on purpose." "Yes, to see what he'd do." Maya looked toward Mercer. "And now we know." Noah lowered his voice. "Know what?" "That he's taking instructions from more than one place." Mercer heard part of the exchange. "Read. Stop whispering with her and search the desk." Noah entered reluctantly. Maya stepped back and checked her secure phone. No new message. She opened a separate encrypted contact and sent Evelyn Price a simple line. "Did the neighborhood network stabilize?" It was intentionally harmless. Evelyn replied almost immediately. "No. And if Mercer moved to the east side of your second floor, do not follow him." Maya read the sentence twice. She had never told Evelyn Mercer was inside the house. She had never told her he was upstairs. She had never mentioned the east side. Maya typed back, "How do you know where he is?" The reply took longer this time. "I can see access anomalies." Maya answered, "Access anomalies don't tell you a man's name." No response. She locked the screen. Emily moved beside her. "Evelyn?" Maya nodded. She knew where Mercer was. Emily looked toward the office. "So, she's the one sending the messages?" "I don't know, but she knows too much." "Yes." Inside the office, Mercer pulled open another drawer and found nothing. His frustration was becoming harder to hide. Noah stood near the desk without touching anything. "Daniel, we need to stop." Mercer looked up. "We're not stopping. We have no warrant. We have no documented authorization. We found papers that may have been placed for us to find, and now somebody is directing you through the house in real time. You're overthinking it." "No. I'm finally thinking about it." Mercer closed the drawer. "You owe me, Noah." Noah's expression changed. Maya noticed immediately. Mercer continued quietly. "When Internal Affairs wanted to make an example out of you, who kept your name out of the report? That has nothing to do with this. It has everything to do with this. No. It means you helped me once, and now I'm asking you to trust me." Noah shook his head. "Being loyal to you doesn't make this legal." Mercer stepped closer. "Legal is what survives the report." The room became quiet. Noah looked at him for several seconds. "That's the first honest thing you've said tonight." Mercer's face tightened. Maya did not interrupt. The conflict between them had changed. Noah was no longer simply afraid of what Mercer might do. He was beginning to understand what Mercer expected him to become. Mercer turned back to the desk. "Search it." Noah remained still. Mercer looked over his shoulder. "I said search it." Noah finally opened one drawer, but he did so slowly and left every item exactly where it was. Maya watched him, then checked her silent phone again. The test had worked. Information from inside the house was reaching someone outside almost immediately. Evelyn knew things she had never been told. Mercer was receiving directions from an unseen source, and the anonymous sender seemed able to observe both of them. Maya had confirmed the leak. What she still did not know was whether one person was controlling it, or whether several people were feeding the same trap from different sides. Mercer searched the East office twice. He opened the desk drawers, checked the filing cabinet, examined the shelves, and even moved a small side table away from the wall. Nothing matched what his source had promised. No cash, no hidden compartment, no package of narcotics. The longer the room remained ordinary, the more obvious his frustration became. Noah stood near the doorway. "There's nothing here." Mercer ignored him and opened the same lower drawer again. "You already checked that," Noah said. "I know what I checked." "Then what are you looking for now?" Mercer closed the drawer and looked toward Maya. You moved it. Maya remained in the hallway with Emily beside her. Moved. What? The cash. I still haven't seen a warrant describing any cash. Mercer stepped out of the office. My source said there was more than $1 million in this house. Your source has said a lot tonight, and some of it has been right. Maya glanced at the folder in his tactical bag. Or placed where you would find it. Mercer's expression tightened. Noah said, Daniel, we need to leave. Mercer turned toward him. We're not leaving. We've searched the rooms you wanted. There's no money. There's more house. You don't even know what you're looking for anymore. Mercer's voice dropped. Careful. No. You told me this was a controlled search based on verified intelligence. It isn't. Somebody is feeding you directions, and every time they're wrong, you just move to the next room. Mercer stared at him for several seconds. Then he said, You think walking out fixes this? It stops it from getting worse. It makes us look guilty. Noah gave him a disbelieving look. We came in without a warrant. We had probable cause. We had a tip. We had enough. No. You decided it was enough. Maya watched Mercer closely. That distinction mattered. Mercer was no longer defending the legality of the search. He was defending the need to make the search produce something. He walked past Noah and returned to the hallway where he had left his tactical bag. Noah followed. Daniel. Mercer unzipped the main compartment. Don't. Mercer reached inside. Noah's voice became firmer. I mean it. Don't take that out. Mercer removed the sealed evidence package they had seen downstairs. Emily stiffened. Maya kept her attention on Mercer's hands. Noah stepped closer. Put it back. We're already committed. No. You are. Mercer looked at him. Noah continued. I came here because you told me Command had approved the operation. You told me the source had been verified. You never told me you stole evidence from storage. I borrowed evidence. That isn't better. It will be when this is over. Noah shook his head. You're talking like the report matters, more than what actually happened. Mercer answered quietly. The report is what people will believe. Maya spoke from behind them. Only if nobody can prove otherwise. Mercer turned. For the first time, there was open concern in his face. He recovered quickly. You've been listening to private police business all night. You brought private police business into my house. Mercer looked at the package in his hand, then toward the bedroom at the end of the hall. Noah stepped into his path. Daniel, this can still stop. Move. No. Mercer did not touch him. He simply leaned closer. You want your name in this report as the officer who refused an order? Noah's jaw tightened. You want internal affairs reopening your old case? You want to explain to your father why you lost your job because you panicked during a search? Noah's face changed. Maya noticed. Mercer had found the pressure point he had been saving. Noah said, Leave my father out of this. Then remember who kept you employed. That doesn't give you the right to make me part of this. Mercer stepped around him. Noah did not follow. Mercer entered Maya's bedroom. Maya stayed outside the doorway. Do not touch anything else, she said. He opened a cabinet beneath a built-in shelf. Nothing. Then he placed the evidence package inside. He closed the cabinet. Noah stared at him. Daniel. Mercer reopened it immediately, reached inside, and pulled out the same package. His voice changed into the formal tone of an officer making a discovery. Well, look at that. Emily let out a quiet breath. Noah looked disgusted. Mercer held the package up. Looks like we found what we came for. Maya did not raise her voice. No. You found what you brought. Mercer's expression hardened. You want to say that again? I watched you put it there. He glanced toward Noah. Noah looked away. Mercer stepped toward Maya. You're done talking. He reached into the side pocket of his bag. The unmarked handcuffs appeared again. Maya looked at them. Mercer noticed. Turn around. She remained still. This is your last chance to cooperate. Maya's eyes moved from the cuffs to his face. Daniel, stop. He gave a short, humorless laugh. Now you're giving orders? I'm giving you a choice. I already made mine. No. You've made several. This is the one you may not be able to explain later. Mercer stepped closer. Noah spoke behind him. She's right. Mercer turned sharply. Stay out of it. No. The word came more firmly than anything Noah had said all night. Mercer stared at him. Noah looked at the package. You brought that here. I saw it. She saw it. Emily saw it. Mercer's face tightened. You're confused. I'm not. You're scared. Yes, Noah said. But that doesn't make me blind. Maya felt her secure phone vibrate in her pocket. She did not check it. Not yet. Mercer still held the cuffs. The narcotics package rested on the cabinet behind him. Noah had finally stopped protecting him. Everything needed for Mercer to step back was now in front of him. Maya spoke one more time. Put the cuffs away. Put the package back in your bag. Walk out of this house and tell the truth about what happened. Mercer looked from Maya to Noah. Then, he lifted the cuffs again. Maya's expression changed, not into fear, into certainty. Daniel, she said. Stop. Mercer ignored her warning and stepped forward with the unmarked handcuffs open in his right hand. Maya did not move. Noah remained behind him, watching closely. Emily stood near the doorway, tense but silent. Mercer reached for Maya's wrist. Before he touched her, a mechanical lock engaged somewhere behind them. Then another. Mercer stopped. A third locking mechanism activated farther down the hall. Noah turned toward the sound. What was that? Mercer looked at Maya. She said nothing. The lights in the hallway changed. The normal household lighting remained on, but small indicators above several door frames shifted from white to amber. A neutral voice came through a concealed speaker. Federal control confirmed. Noah stared toward the ceiling. Mercer lowered the cuffs slightly. What the hell is that? Maya's voice remained steady. Put the restraints down. Mercer looked at her differently now. What did you just do? I gave you several opportunities to stop. Answer me. No. He took another step. Maya reached inside the front of her cardigan. Mercer immediately raised the electronic control device at his belt, but did not activate it. Hands where I can see them. Maya slowly removed a leather credential holder and placed it on the table beside the narcotics package. She opened it. Noah saw the identification first. His face changed. Daniel. Mercer did not look away from Maya. Noah, he said. Don't start again. You need to look at that. Mercer finally glanced down. The words on the credential stopped him. United States Marshal Service. He looked at the photograph. Then, at Maya. No. Maya held his gaze. My name is Maya Williams. I am a Deputy United States Marshal assigned to a protected witness operation. Mercer stared at her as though he expected the identification to change if he looked long enough. Then he shook his head. That's fake. Noah stepped closer to the table but did not touch the credential. It doesn't look fake. Mercer turned on him. You're an expert now? No. I'm looking at what's in front of me. Maya nodded toward the hallway around them. The reinforced wiring you found was federal security infrastructure. The independent cameras are part of a closed monitoring system. The restricted doors are controlled access points. Noah looked toward Emily. Maya continued. Emily Carter is not simply a guest in my home. She is a protected financial witness in an active federal investigation. Emily said nothing, but her expression confirmed that Maya was no longer hiding the truth. Mercer looked between them. You expect me to believe this is a federal safe house? Maya answered. It is functioning as one. His eyes moved toward the narcotics package he had planted. Maya noticed. So now you understand why I kept asking you to stop. Mercer recovered enough to speak with some of his earlier confidence. If this were really a protected location, local law enforcement would have been notified. Not necessarily. That's convenient. No, Daniel. What would have been convenient was for you to bring a warrant. Noah turned away and placed both hands on the edge of the desk. God. Mercer looked at him. Get yourself together. Noah faced him again. You brought stolen evidence into a federal safe house. We don't know that. I watched you put it in the cabinet. Mercer's expression hardened. Be very careful what you say next. Maya interrupted. He should be careful. So should you. Mercer looked at her. Maya pointed toward a small camera near the ceiling. That camera is not connected to my residential system. His face changed again. You recorded us? The house recorded what happened inside it. Mercer looked around the room. Without consent? You entered a secured federal location while carrying evidence removed from police storage. You then placed that evidence in a room and represented it as something you discovered. I had probable cause. You had an anonymous source and no warrant. I was acting on active intelligence. You turned off your body camera. Mercer said nothing. You brought unmarked restraints. Still nothing. You told Noah the report would justify what happened afterward. Noah closed his eyes briefly. Maya continued. And then you planted evidence in front of 2 witnesses. Mercer looked at Noah. Don't say another word. Noah answered quietly. I don't think that matters anymore. A door at the far end of the hallway opened. 2 federal officers stepped into view. Neither carried a firearm. One wore a control vest and carried a compact protective shield. The other had restraint equipment secured at his waist. Mercer immediately reached for his electronic control device. Don't, Maya said. He drew it anyway. The officer with the shield stepped between Mercer and everyone else. The second officer moved to Mercer's side and removed the device before he could activate it. There was no strike and no struggle. Mercer resisted only by pulling his arm back. But the officers controlled his movement and guided both hands behind him. Steel cuffs closed around his wrists. This is unlawful, Mercer said. I'm a police sergeant. The second officer checked the restraints. Maya replied, Your rank is not the issue. Noah slowly raised both hands. I'm not resisting. One of the federal officers nodded. Keep your hands visible. Noah complied immediately. Mercer looked at him. Don't cooperate with them. Noah's eyes stayed forward. Daniel, stop talking. Mercer stared at him. Noah continued. You told me the law was whatever survived the report. His voice was quiet now. I think we're past the report. Maya picked up the narcotics package without opening it and placed it back on the table. This stays exactly where it is until it can be documented properly. Mercer gave her a hard look. You set me up. No. You knew we were coming. I knew something was happening shortly before you entered. You let me walk in. You made every decision after that yourself. Maya stepped closer, but her voice remained controlled. You didn't raid a suspect's home, Daniel. You entered a federal safe house without lawful authority and planted evidence in front of a protected witness for the first time. Mercer had no answer. Maya looked at the unmarked handcuffs he had dropped near the desk. A badge can open a door, she said. It cannot rewrite what happened after you crossed it. Her secure phone vibrated in her pocket. The sound was small, but Maya noticed it immediately. Mercer was restrained. Noah had surrendered. Emily was still safe. The operation should have been over. Maya removed the phone and read the new encrypted message. Congratulations. You caught the man I wanted you to catch. She did not show the screen to anyone. A second message arrived before she could respond. Now ask yourself why I wanted him inside. Maya looked toward the secured hallway. Catching Mercer had not ended the problem. It had only revealed that someone else had been using him. Maya read the 2 messages again before slipping the secure phone back into her pocket. She did not tell Mercer what she had received. Whoever had been directing events still had access to information inside the house, and she was not going to provide that person with confirmation of what she knew. One of the federal officers escorted Mercer into a secured room on the lower floor. He continued, insisting that the search had been justified, but his voice disappeared once the door closed. Noah remained in the hallway with his hands visible. Emily stood near Maya. Was that another message? Yes. From the same person? I believe so. What did they say? Maya looked toward the room where Mercer had been taken. That Mercer was supposed to get caught. Emily took a moment to understand the implication. Then, somebody wanted him inside this house. That's what they want me to believe. You still don't trust the messages? I trust that the sender knows things they shouldn't know. That is not the same as trusting their motive. Noah heard enough of the conversation to look up. Someone warned you we were coming? Maya turned toward him. Shortly before you arrived. His face tightened. Mercer didn't know that. I know. Noah looked toward the secured room. Neither did I. That matters. He gave a tired nod. I suppose everything matters now. A federal officer approached Maya and quietly confirmed that Mercer had been separated from the others and that the narcotics package was being documented without being moved from the location where Mercer had staged the discovery. Maya nodded. Keep the original position on camera. Photograph the bag, the cabinet, the restraints, and both officers' equipment before anything is transferred. Noah watched her give the instructions. You really were documenting us the entire time. The house was. He looked down. That distinction probably isn't going to help me. No. Maya did not soften the answer. Noah took it without argument. What happens to me? That depends on what you did, what you knew, and what you tell the truth about now. You can't promise me anything? No. His eyes moved toward the room where Mercer had been taken. I thought maybe because I stopped him at the end. You participated in entering this house. I know. You knew he had no warrant. Yes. You continued after you understood he had removed evidence from storage. Noah closed his eyes briefly. Yes. Maya lowered her voice. Doing one right thing after several wrong ones matters. Noah. It does not erase the others. He nodded slowly. Emily moved away, giving them space. A secure video connection was established with a federal prosecutor assigned to the investigation. Maya introduced Noah only by name and position, then stepped aside while the prosecutor explained that any cooperation would be evaluated according to accuracy, corroboration, and the extent of Noah's own involvement. No promises were made. Noah listened without interrupting. When the explanation ended, he asked, "If I tell you everything, does Mercer hear it?" "No," the prosecutor said. "You will be interviewed separately." Noah glanced toward Maya. "And if I lie, then your cooperation becomes another problem for you." Noah almost smiled, but there was no humor in it. "Fair enough," Maya said. "You don't need to decide based on Mercer anymore." Noah rubbed his palms against his trousers. "That's harder than it sounds." "Why?" He hesitated. "Because for years, every time something went wrong, Mercer was the person who knew how to make it disappear." Maya waited. Noah continued. "My father lives in a long-term care facility. The monthly cost is more than I can manage without overtime. A couple of years ago, I made a mistake during a departmental review. Nothing criminal, but enough that internal affairs could have suspended me. Mercer made sure it went away. And he reminded you of that tonight. He reminds me whenever he needs something." Maya said, "Helping your father explains why losing your job frightened you. It does not explain away what you chose." "I know." His voice was quieter now. "I kept telling myself I was protecting my family. Somewhere along the way, I started protecting Mercer instead." Maya studied him for a moment. "Then start with the first thing he asked you to hide." Noah sat at the table. A recorder was placed in front of him. He looked at it for several seconds before saying, "Turn it on." The federal officer activated the recording. Noah began with complaints against Mercer that had disappeared before reaching formal review. He described evidence audits that were delayed or reassigned whenever Mercer's name appeared. He explained that Mercer often claimed he had protection from Chief Helen Ward. Maya interrupted only when necessary. "What kind of protection?" "Warnings about internal reviews. Access to restricted information. Sometimes complaints would just stop moving." "Did Chief Ward ever speak to you directly about any of this?" "No." "Did you ever personally hear her authorize Mercer to ignore procedure?" "No." "Then tell me only what you know, not what Mercer told you." Noah nodded. "What I know is that he received information he should not have had. He knew when audits were coming. He knew which supervisors had complained about him. He knew parts of investigations before officers involved in them had been notified." "Did he ever say where it came from?" "He said the chief understood how the real world worked." Maya did not react. Noah continued. "He also said Ward knew about Victor Kane. That name changed the room." Maya leaned forward. "What exactly did he say?" "That Kane had people inside the department, and that Ward kept certain things from becoming official problems." "Did Mercer say Ward took money?" "He implied it." "Implied how?" "He called her the reason Kane never had to worry about traffic stops turning into investigations." Maya looked toward the recording officer. "Anything else?" Noah hesitated. "There was a file. Mercer showed it to me once because he wanted me to understand how protected he was. It had Ward's login attached to an internal access request involving your name." Maya's expression remained controlled. "Did you see the request yourself?" "Yes." "Could you tell whether the credential was actually hers?" "No." That answer mattered. Maya's phone vibrated again, but she ignored it. Noah had pointed directly toward Chief Helen Ward, yet the path was almost too clean. The same night Mercer entered a house he had been guided toward. The evidence against his chief appeared ready to follow him. Maya had learned enough to take Ward seriously. She had not learned enough to trust the direction she was being pushed. Maya let Noah continue until he had described every access request, delayed complaint, and internal warning he could personally remember. When he began repeating what Mercer had claimed rather than what he had witnessed, she stopped him. "That's enough for now." Noah looked toward the recorder. "You don't believe me. I believe you're trying to tell the truth. That doesn't make every conclusion correct." He nodded, accepting the distinction. A federal analyst entered the room carrying a secured tablet. We pulled the access logs Noah mentioned. Maya took the tablet. Several restricted searches involving her name had been made through Cedar Grove Police Department systems. The credential attached to the requests belonged to Chief Helen Ward. Noah leaned forward. That's what I saw. Maya studied the entries. Who extracted these? Evelyn Price provided the first set. We confirmed that the records exist on the municipal server. Maya looked up. Evelyn provided them? Yes. That made the evidence less reassuring. Not more. Maya's secure phone still held unanswered messages from the anonymous sender, while Evelyn had already demonstrated knowledge she should not have possessed. Now she was also supplying evidence that pointed toward Ward. Do not treat the username as proof of the user, Maya said. The analyst nodded. We won't. Noah frowned. But that's Ward's login. It's Ward's credential, Maya corrected. Those are not always the same thing. A short time later, Maya joined a small federal team at Cedar Grove Police Headquarters. The building was quiet, but Chief Ward was still in her office. Ward was 57, composed, and dressed in the same dark uniform she had worn through a long administrative day. A paper cup of coffee sat untouched near a stack of personnel reports. Her reading glasses rested beside a folder marked for retirement benefit review. She looked at Maya, then at the federal personnel behind her. I assume this isn't a courtesy visit. No. Ward gestured toward the chairs. Then we should probably skip the ceremony. Maya remained standing. Sergeant Mercer entered my residence tonight, without presenting a warrant. Ward's expression tightened. He did what? He brought Officer Noah Reed with him. Their body cameras were inactive. Mercer also carried evidence that had been removed from police storage without documentation. Ward stared at Maya. Where is Mercer now? In federal custody. Ward took a slow breath. And Reed? Cooperating. Something changed in Ward's face. But it was not surprise at Noah's cooperation. It looked more like recognition that a problem she had postponed had finally become impossible to contain. Maya placed the tablet on the desk. These are access records connected to my name. Ward looked down. Her composure weakened for the first time. That's my credential. Yes, I didn't make those searches. Can anyone else use your account? Not legally. That wasn't my question. Ward removed her glasses and looked directly at Maya. If you came here expecting me to protect Mercer, you're going to be disappointed. I came here because Noah says Mercer claimed you already were. Ward's mouth tightened. Mercer claims many things. Did you ever stop a complaint against him? Ward did not answer immediately. Maya waited. Finally, Ward said, I reassigned complaints. Why? Because some were poorly documented. Some were politically motivated, and some could have been handled without turning the department into a public spectacle. Did you delay evidence audits involving Mercer? Yes. Did you warn him about internal reviews? Ward looked away. That answer matters. I warned supervisors when their units were under review. That isn't what I asked. Ward's voice became firmer. You want a confession to something I didn't do? I want the truth about what you did. The office became quiet. Ward sat down. I spent 30 years building this department. Every misconduct complaint becomes a headline before anyone knows what happened. Every mistake becomes proof that the entire institution is rotten. Sometimes I kept things internal because I believed I could correct them without destroying public trust. Maya looked at her. Did that work? Ward did not answer. Maya continued. Mercer believed he was protected. I never authorized him to enter your house. You protected him long enough for him to believe rules were optional. Ward's eyes hardened. That is not the same thing. No. But it helped create the same result. Ward looked back at the tablet. Then she opened a drawer and removed a small encrypted storage device. I knew someone was using restricted credentials. Maya's attention sharpened. How long? Long enough to start keeping my own records. Ward connected the device to an isolated workstation and opened a folder containing authentication reports. Several logins attributed to her account had occurred while Ward had been attending documented public meetings or sitting in command conferences with multiple witnesses. Maya examined the dates. You reported this? To Municipal Technology Services. And? They told me the system showed valid authentication. Who reviewed it? Ward hesitated. Evelyn Price. Maya did not react, but the name immediately changed the direction of the conversation. Ward continued. She told me my password may have been compromised and advised me to reset my credentials. Did you? Twice. And the unauthorized activity continued? Yes. Maya looked through the records again. Why didn't you escalate it? Ward gave a tired answer. Because admitting the chief's credentials were compromised would have required a full external audit. I thought we could contain it. Maya closed the file. There's that word again. Ward looked at her. Contain. Maya pushed the tablet back across the desk. You contained Mercer's complaints. You contained the audit problem. You contained the credential breach. I was protecting the department. Institutions don't become honorable because we hide what dishonors them. Ward looked down at the retirement folder near her coffee. When you've spent 3 decades building something, you start thinking protecting its reputation is the same as protecting the people inside it. And now? Ward looked toward the federal personnel outside her office. Now I'm beginning to understand what that cost. Maya pointed to the access records. Did you ever personally provide Mercer information about me? No. Victor Kane? Ward hesitated. I knew Kane had relationships with people in this city that made ordinary investigations difficult. That isn't an answer. I never took money from him. Did you interfere with investigations connected to him? Ward looked at Maya for a long moment. I redirected some. Why? Because I was told pursuing them would compromise a larger operation. By whom? Ward's expression changed. I don't know anymore. That answer bothered Maya more than a denial would have. Ward opened another file. These messages were sent through what appeared to be legitimate government channels. Some used my credential. Some came to me from people whose names I trusted. Maya reviewed several headers. The pattern was familiar. Too familiar. The same kind of controlled information flow had moved Mercer through Maya's house. Maya looked at Ward. You covered misconduct. Yes. You interfered with accountability. Ward took a breath. Yes. But you're telling me you did not send Mercer into my house. I did not. Maya believed one part immediately. Ward was not innocent. Whether she was telling the truth about Mercer was another matter, but the evidence had stopped pointing in a straight line. Someone had used Ward's authority while exploiting Ward's own willingness to hide problems. Maya picked up the secured tablet. Chief, your reputation is no longer the most important thing in this room. Ward gave a tired nod. I know. Maya turned toward the door. Behind her, Ward said, Deputy Williams. Maya stopped. If somebody has been using my credentials, they didn't start tonight. Maya looked back. Ward continued. And if Mercer was receiving instructions from the same person, then whoever did this didn't just know the department. Her eyes moved to the tablet. They knew how all of us would react. Maya left the office with that thought. Ward had admitted enough to damage herself and denied enough to keep the larger question alive. Someone had been speaking with the chief's authority. Now Maya needed to determine whose voice had been behind it. Back at the house, Maya asked that Noah, Ward, and Evelyn be contacted separately. She no longer trusted any conclusion that depended on a single source, especially when every source seemed to know more than they should. Noah was still in the secured interview room when Maya entered. I need your help with something, she said. He looked tired but attentive. What? I'm going to give you information. You are not to repeat it to Mercer, Ward, Evelyn Price, or anyone else. Noah nodded. Maya leaned closer. We recovered a second financial archive from the North Utility Room. It contains account numbers connected to Kane. His eyes widened slightly. That's true? What matters is that you understand what I just told you. He studied her for a moment, then understood. You're testing me. I'm testing everyone. Noah nodded again. I won't say anything. Maya left without explaining further. Her next conversation was with Ward over a secure federal line. Maya told the chief that investigators had identified a storage location connected to Kane near the county line. She gave Ward a specific address that did not exist. Ward immediately asked, Do you want my department involved? No. Keep the information to yourself. You think I'm the leak. I think somebody is. Ward's expression tightened, but she did not argue. Then Maya contacted Evelyn. Evelyn appeared on video from an office Maya did not recognize. You disappeared earlier, Maya said. I was trying to understand what was happening to the network. I may have something more useful. Evelyn leaned closer. Maya gave her the third false detail. Emily copied a separate transaction file before she came here. We believe it's stored on an encrypted device inside the guest suite. Evelyn's face barely changed. Does Kane know? We don't think so. That could be important. It could. Maya ended the call. Then she waited. No artificial deadline was necessary. If someone was moving information, the information would move. A federal analyst monitored the channels linked to Mercer, Ward, Evelyn, and known Kane associates. For a while, nothing happened. Maya stood beside Emily in the secure room downstairs. Emily had taken out the plain notebook she sometimes used instead of electronic devices and was writing down account names she remembered. "You're feeding them different stories," Emily said. "Yes. What did you tell Evelyn?" "That you copied a separate file." Emily stopped writing. "I did." Maya looked at her. Emily lowered the pen. "You never asked whether there was more. You told us you brought financial records tied to Kane." "I did." "That wasn't my question." Emily closed the notebook. "There's another archive." Maya waited. Emily continued. "Before I left Kane Logistics, I copied the payment structure used by several shell companies. Not just invoices, beneficiaries, routing instructions, internal approval codes, names attached to payments. Names of who? People in city government, contractors, police employees, maybe others. Some entries were encrypted, and I never finished sorting them." "Where is it?" Emily hesitated. "Not here." Maya's expression sharpened. "Who knows it exists? I thought only I did." Maya immediately remembered Evelyn's earlier message. "Ask Emily what she copied before she ran." "That isn't true anymore." Emily looked concerned. "Evelyn knows?" She knew enough to ask. Before Maya could say more, the analyst called through the internal line. "We have movement." Maya returned to the monitoring room. "What leaked?" "The information you gave Price." On the screen was an encrypted communication recovered from a channel associated with one of Victor Kane's security contractors. The message referenced an encrypted device believed to be inside Emily's guest suite. Maya read it carefully. Only Evelyn had been given that location. Noah's false archive had gone nowhere. Ward's false address had gone nowhere. Evelyn's information had moved almost immediately. Maya said, "Preserve the entire route." The analyst nodded. "Already doing it." Another window opened on the screen. "There's something else." A collection of earlier anonymous records appeared. Some had been forwarded to internal investigators months before Mercer entered the house. They contained evidence of complaint suppression, evidence storage irregularities, and unauthorized access connected to Mercer. Maya recognized the pattern. Where did these originate? "We traced them through the same infrastructure Price used tonight." Maya looked at the analyst. "So she didn't just feed information to Kane." "No. She fed information against Mercer too." "Yes. That changed the problem. Evelyn was not simply a leak inside the federal operation. She had been moving information in both directions." Maya's secure phone vibrated. A message appeared. "Ask Emily what she copied before she ran." The same warning Evelyn had already sent through another route. Maya locked the phone. "She wants us to know she knows." The analyst frowned. "Why?" "That's what we haven't figured out." An alert interrupted them. Not a residential alarm. An access authentication warning. Several people had entered the outer security perimeter using credentials identifying them as federal security contractors. At first, the credentials passed automated verification. Then a secondary manual check found discrepancies in the issuing codes. Maya moved immediately to the internal communications panel. "Who authorized a contractor team?" No one answered. "A federal officer came over the secure line." "We didn't." Maya looked at the access map. The newcomers had already reached the service wing. They were using legitimate-looking credentials, correct access terminology, and current security procedures. Whoever had prepared them knew how the location operated. Another indicator changed. 2 outer security officers stopped responding. The camera feed showed them unharmed, but restrained inside a utility office. Their access cards had been removed. Emily stood behind Maya. "Are they here for the files?" Maya examined the intruder's route. They were bypassing offices, ignoring equipment rooms, ignoring the evidence area where Mercer's case was being documented. They were moving toward the protected residential section. "No," Maya said. Emily understood before Maya finished. "They're here for me." The internal doors began switching to controlled lockdown. Maya ordered the remaining personnel to verify every identity manually. and stop accepting electronic credentials at face value. Her phone vibrated again. This time, the anonymous message was longer. Mercer thought he was hunting you. You thought you were trapping Mercer. Kane thinks he's taking Emily. Everyone is wrong. Maya read it once. Then she looked at Emily. Mercer had created confusion. Ward's compromised authority had created access. Kane's people had entered under false credentials. Evelyn had supplied information to every side while making sure each one moved exactly where she expected. The question was no longer whether Evelyn Price was playing both sides. She was. The question was why she needed all of them in the same place. Maya ordered the automated access system placed into restricted mode. The federal analyst looked at her. That will disable several remote functions. That's the point. If we cut the network controls, we lose part of the camera grid. We already know the camera grid can be manipulated. The analyst hesitated, then entered the command. Several monitors changed status as remote permissions were suspended. Electronic credentials would no longer be enough to move through the secured areas. Doors that required authentication would now need manual confirmation from personnel inside the house. Maya turned to the remaining federal officers. From this point forward, nobody moves based on a badge displayed on a screen. We verify identities directly. Names, faces, and verbal confirmation. One of the officers asked, "What about internal communications?" Use the hard lines where possible. If someone gives you an instruction you didn't expect, confirm it with a person you know. Emily stood near the protected residential corridor. You're shutting down your own security. I'm shutting down the part somebody else can control. A voice came through the internal speaker. Deputy Williams, we have a contractor supervisor requesting access to the East Corridor. Credentials show federal authorization. Maya pressed the communication switch. Do you recognize the supervisor personally? No. Then the answer is no. They're claiming they have an emergency relocation order. Ask for the verbal verification phrase. A pause followed. They don't have it. Keep the door closed. Maya released the switch. Emily looked at her. How long can you run the house like this? As long as necessary. That sounds inefficient. It is. Emily gave her a questioning look. Maya said, efficient systems are useful when you trust the information entering them. And when you don't, you slow everything down. Noah was brought from the interview room under supervision. His hands were no longer cuffed, but a federal officer remained beside him. Maya faced him. I need you to think carefully about the messages Mercer received tonight. Noah nodded. All right. Not what they said. How they appeared. He frowned. Encrypted texts. No normal phone number. Anything else? Noah thought for several seconds. The notification symbol was unusual. How? It wasn't from one of the department apps. Mercer used something separate. Did you ever see it before tonight? Yes. When? A few times over the last several months. Usually right before he suddenly knew something he shouldn't. Maya exchanged a look with the analyst. What kind of things? Internal review schedules. Evidence audits. Sometimes where supervisors were going to be. Did he tell you who was messaging him? No. He called the person a source. Maya removed her secure phone and opened one of the anonymous messages without handing it over. Did the notification look anything like this? Noah leaned closer. His expression changed. Yes. You're certain? The icon was different, but the encryption header looked like that. The analyst stepped forward. What header? Noah pointed to the upper corner of the screen. That string. Mercer's messages had something similar. The analyst took a closer look. Same encryption family. Maya asked, could two unrelated systems use it? Yes, but this configuration is customized. The formatting is distinctive. Noah looked at Maya. So whoever was messaging you was also talking to Mercer? Possibly. I thought Mercer had some private source inside the department. He may have believed that. Noah shook his head. Then he was being managed. Maya looked at him. He was being given information. What he chose to do with it was still his responsibility. I know. That distinction matters. Noah nodded. A federal officer approached from the hall. We verified the two outer officers who were restrained. They're unharmed. Their access cards were taken, but the false contractor group never tried to leave with them. What equipment did they take? Credentials and communication devices. Nothing else. Maya considered that. They needed identities more than equipment. The officer nodded. Looks that way. Do not reactivate those credentials. even if someone claims they've recovered them. Understood. Maya turned back to Noah. Did Mercer ever mention Evelyn Price? Noah's answer came quickly. Not by name. Think. He looked down. He complained once about a civilian technology consultant who kept asking questions about evidence access. Did he say whether the consultant was helping him or investigating him? No. He said she was useful when she stayed in her lane. Maya looked toward the analyst. That sounds like he knew who she was. Noah added, there was something else. What? Mercer used to delete the messages after reading them. One night I asked why. What did he say? He said the sender preferred clean phones. Emily spoke from behind Maya. That doesn't sound like a normal informant. No, Maya said. It doesn't. Another communication came through the hard line. Deputy Williams, one of the contractor team members, is requesting passage through the service corridor. He says Chief Ward authorized it. Maya looked toward the monitor, but did not rely on the image. Call Chief Ward directly. Use the number already verified by the federal team. The officer did so. A short time later, Ward's voice came through. I authorized nothing. Maya replied. Thank you, Chief. Ward sounded frustrated. They're still using my name. They're using whatever people are conditioned to trust. Maya ended the connection. The analyst asked, what do we do with the contractor team? Contain them. Do not move toward them unless necessary. Every door they reach stays closed until we know exactly who is on the other side. Emily looked at Maya. So, we just wait? No. We make them identify what they actually want. You already think they want me. I think they were sent for you. That doesn't mean the people sending them all want the same thing. Maya walked to a small desk, took a sheet of paper, and wrote a short phrase by hand. She folded it once and handed it to the nearest federal officer. This becomes the verbal verification phrase for the protected section. Do not transmit it electronically. If someone needs access, they say it to a person who already has it. The officer read the phrase and nodded. Noah watched. You're replacing the security system with paper. I'm replacing unverified information with something two people can confirm. Emily held up her plain notebook. My low-tech habits are starting to look better. Maya gave her a brief look. For once, yes. The tension eased for only a moment. Then an internal door indicator changed. Someone had attempted to override the protected residential corridor again. The system denied access. Maya looked at the officer beside her. Did anyone authorize that? No. Good. Leave it denied. Noah looked toward the corridor. What if Evelyn built all of this around the assumption that we'd trust the screens? Maya answered, without taking her eyes from the door. Then we stopped giving her that advantage. She looked around at the people in the room. From now on, we trust people before screens. For the first time since Mercer entered the house, Maya was no longer trying to understand every piece of information being sent to her. She was deciding which information deserved to be believed. The protected corridor remained sealed, but the voices outside grew clearer as the unauthorized team approached. Federal relocation, a man said through the closed door. We have instructions to transfer the witness to another secure location. Maya stood beside Emily and looked at the federal officer managing the manual access point. Ask for identification. The officer did. A credential was held up to the inspection window. It appeared legitimate. The name matched a federal security contractor on the regional roster. The photograph matched the man outside. The authorization code also appeared valid. Emily looked at Maya. They have everything. Almost. Maya motioned to the officer. Ask for the verbal verification phrase. The officer spoke through the door. What is the protected section verification phrase? The man outside hesitated. Only for a moment. Federal Relocation Protocol 7. The officer looked at Maya. Maya shook her head. That is not it. The man outside responded immediately. The code may have changed. I can have our supervisor confirm. Maya answered through the door. You can do that from where you are. A pause followed. We need the witness moved now. Emily stepped closer to Maya. They know I'm the witness. They know enough. The voice outside became firmer. Deputy Williams, we have direct authorization. Open the door. Maya did not respond. She looked at Emily. Did anyone tell you there would be a relocation tonight? No. Did anyone give you a name? No. Then you stay here. Emily nodded. The federal officer checked the corridor camera manually rather than through the remote network. There are 4 people outside. Maya asked. Any visible weapons? No. Any control equipment? restraint belts, 2 electronic access devices, 1 shield. Maya understood the strategy. They were not planning to force their way in. They wanted the people inside to open the door willingly. A voice came through again. Emily Carter, this is a federal transfer operation. We need you to cooperate. Emily looked at Maya. They know my full name. Maya kept her voice low. They know enough to sound legitimate. Emily nodded. The man outside continued. Miss Carter, if you remain inside, you may compromise the protection arrangement. Emily's expression tightened. Maya said, do not answer them. Another voice came through. This one was female. Emily, my name is Karen Wallace. I'm with Federal Witness Services. You are being moved because the current location is compromised. Emily looked at Maya. Do you know her? No. The woman continued. We have your transfer file and destination authorization. You are not in trouble. Please come to the door. Emily did not move. Ask her something. Maya said. What? Ask which office authorized the transfer. Emily raised her voice. Which office authorized the transfer? The woman outside answered immediately. The Regional Witness Protection Office. Emily looked at Maya. Maya asked, which division? Emily repeated the question. There was a longer pause this time. Interstate Operations. Emily's face changed. She looked at Maya. That doesn't sound right. What? When I was moved here, the paperwork came through a financial crimes unit, not interstate operations. Maya nodded. Good. The voice outside became more impatient. Miss Carter, this delay is becoming a security concern. Emily stepped closer to the door but did not open it. You used the wrong division. Silence. Then the woman outside said, administrative changes happen. Emily answered, not without documentation. Maya looked at her with approval. Ask for the transfer number. Emily did. The answer came several seconds later. A number was provided. Maya repeated it to the federal analyst. The analyst checked the database. That number is real. Maya frowned. Is it active? No. Could they have accessed an old file? Possibly. Emily looked through the inspection panel again. The people outside looked professional. Nothing about them suggested panic. That was what concerned Maya. They were patient because they believed they had enough authority to wait. A faint sound came from the corridor behind Maya. The magnetic lock on the secondary door had engaged. Maya turned. One of the unauthorized team had attempted a remote override on another access point. The attempt failed. The federal officer spoke quietly. They're testing the internal doors. Maya nodded. They're learning the layout. Emily looked worried. Maya placed a hand on her shoulder. They don't have the door. They don't have the witness. They don't have control of the system anymore. A voice came from outside again. Deputy Williams. This is becoming unnecessary. We have enough authorization to remove the witness. Maya answered directly. If you have enough authorization, you have enough authority to state who signed the transfer order. No answer came. Maya continued. And if you have the actual order, you can read me the verification code. The corridor remained silent. Then the female voice said, this is not a negotiation. No. Maya replied. It isn't. Maya signaled the federal officers. The doors separating the two sides remained closed. Nobody rushed forward. Nobody used force unnecessarily. Instead, the officers began confirming every identity manually and preparing restraint equipment in case the unauthorized team tried to move. Emily watched them. You really aren't going to fight them? Not unless they force us to. What if they do? Then we stop them without giving them anything they can use against us later. A few seconds later, the electronic lock on the outer access door clicked. The unauthorized team had gained control of one entrance. The federal officer looked at Maya. They're through. Maya nodded. Seal the next corridor. The interior doors closed. The team advanced only a short distance before reaching another barrier. A man outside called out, "We can do this the easy way." Maya answered, "The easy way is for you to place your hands where we can see them and explain who sent you." No response. Then the voices outside changed. The confident tone disappeared. One of the men said, "We need a different route." Maya heard it clearly. They were no longer pretending the operation was routine. Emily whispered, "They're not here to move me." "No. What are they here for?" Maya looked at her. "Your information." Emily's face tightened. "The files?" "Yes." Emily reached into the pocket of her cardigan and touched the small paper notebook she had kept with her. Maya noticed. "You still have it?" Emily nodded. I never put everything in the digital files. Maya held her gaze. That may be the reason they came. Outside the corridor, another access attempt failed. The federal team moved into position with shields and restraint equipment. No one drew a weapon. No one needed to. The intruders had expected people to obey credentials. Instead, they found people checking names, questioning orders, and refusing to surrender control simply because someone appeared official. Emily looked at Maya. You said this house was safe. Maya did not give her an easy answer. I said we would protect you. That's different. Yes. Emily swallowed. Was I wrong to trust you? Maya shook her head. No. She looked toward the closed corridor. I was wrong to think safety meant nobody could reach us. Emily waited. Maya continued quietly. Sometimes, safety means we still have choices after they do. Emily nodded. The federal officers secured the next access point. The false extraction team was contained between two locked sections, unable to reach Emily and unable to leave without identifying themselves. For the first time since the raid began, Emily stood completely still without asking what would happen next. She had made her choice. She would not walk through that door. The unauthorized team remained contained between the two secured corridors, but Maya knew containment alone would not answer the larger question. Someone had given them valid information, convincing credentials, and enough knowledge of the safe house to get dangerously close to Emily. She turned to the federal analyst. Bring Evelyn Price onto a secure line. The analyst nodded and began the connection. Evelyn appeared a few moments later. She was seated at a desk in a plain office, with only a laptop and several folders visible behind her. Her expression was controlled. Maya, you know what happened. Evelyn looked down briefly. I know there was an unauthorized access attempt. You knew they were coming. I knew someone was interested in the witness. That isn't what I asked. Evelyn remained silent. Maya looked directly at the screen. You sent me the first warning tonight. Evelyn did not deny it. Yes. You also supplied information that reached Mercer. Yes. And information connected to Kane. Another pause. Yes. Maya watched her carefully. Why? Evelyn leaned back slightly. Because nobody was seeing the whole picture. That does not answer the question. It does. No. It explains your theory. It does not explain your actions. Evelyn lowered her eyes for a moment before looking back at Maya. I found irregularities in the municipal evidence system several months ago. I traced them to people connected to Mercer. When I pushed further, I found financial links that reached Kane. You could have gone to federal investigators. I did. Maya's expression remained unchanged. Evelyn continued. I gave them information anonymously. Then parts of the information disappeared. Because of Ward? Some of it. Some? Evelyn nodded. Some because of people inside the department. Some because of contractors. Some because nobody wanted to touch the problem without knowing how far it went. Maya asked. So, you started feeding information to everyone? I started giving each side enough information to expose the next layer. You manipulated investigations. I accelerated them. You manipulated Mercer into entering my house. I gave him information. He made the decision to act. Maya's voice hardened. You knew exactly what he would do. Evelyn did not answer. That is what makes you part of the problem, Maya said. Evelyn looked almost offended. I stopped him from targeting people who could not fight back. No. You used him to expose himself. That was the point. You decided the law was too slow, so you appointed yourself judge. Evelyn looked away. I never claimed to be a judge. You didn't need the title. The analyst brought up a communication log. Maya, we traced additional messages. Price wasn't only communicating with Mercer and Kane. She was sending information that helped expose Mercer to federal investigators. Maya looked back at Evelyn. So you were helping us while helping them. I was making sure nobody could control the whole story. You were controlling the story. Evelyn's expression tightened. You still don't understand. Then explain it. Evelyn leaned forward. Kane had police contacts. Mercer had internal protection. Ward had authority over the department. Federal investigators had incomplete information. Everybody had one piece. And you wanted all the pieces. Yes. Why? Because whoever holds the full picture holds the power. Maya was quiet. That sentence told her more than Evelyn probably intended. You're not trying to expose the truth anymore, Maya said. You're trying to own it. Evelyn did not deny it. Maya asked. What do you want? I want a copy of Emily's archive. Emily looked toward the screen. Maya's attention sharpened. You knew about the archive. I suspected it. You sent the message telling me to ask Emily what she copied. Yes. Why? Because I needed to know whether the archive was real. Maya glanced at Emily. Emily remained still, her notebook held against her chest. Evelyn continued, I don't intend to sell it to Kane. That doesn't make keeping it legal. It makes it useful. For what? Protection. Maya shook her head. Leverage. Evelyn did not argue. If everyone knows I have a copy, nobody can make me disappear. Emily spoke for the first time. You're no different from Kane. Evelyn looked at her. That's not true. You both think possessing information gives you power over other people. Evelyn's expression changed. Maya stepped closer to the screen. Emily is right. Evelyn said nothing. A secure line opened from another location. Victor Kane appeared on the screen. He was calm, well-dressed, and seated in an office that looked more like a corporate boardroom than a criminal's hideout. Maya did not recognize the location. Kane smiled faintly. Deputy Williams. Maya looked at him. You should have stayed out of this. Kane's smile disappeared. I could say the same. You sent people into a protected federal location. I sent people to recover property that belongs to my company. Emily is not property. She worked for me. She stole from me. She is a witness. Kane folded his hands. Then we have a misunderstanding. There is no misunderstanding. Kane looked toward Evelyn. You've made this unnecessarily complicated. Evelyn remained silent. Kane returned his attention to Maya. Give me the archive. The people outside will leave. Nobody else needs to know what happened tonight. Maya asked. And if I refuse? You already know what happens when institutions lose control of information. That sounds like a threat. It's an observation. Maya looked at the evidence screen. Mercer, Ward, Evelyn, Kane. Different people, different motives. The same belief that information could be controlled by the person who held it. Kane continued. Everybody wants something, Miss Williams. You want justice. Ward wants her career. Reed wants his future. Evelyn wants protection. Emily wants her life back. He paused. I can give each of them something. Maya replied quietly. That's why you never understood people who wanted the truth. Kane frowned. What does that mean? You think every person can be reduced to a price. I think every person has a reason. Reasons are not prices. Kane leaned forward. Truth is just information. Maya looked directly into the camera. No. Information can be owned. Truth survives its owner. Kane said nothing. Maya ended the call. Evelyn remained on the screen. You could have taken his offer, she said. I could have. Why didn't you? Because then, he would still believe he owned the truth. Evelyn looked toward the side of her screen. Maya noticed. Evelyn. Yes? Where are you? Evelyn hesitated. The connection ended. The analyst immediately checked the signal. We can locate the system, but not the exact room yet. Maya nodded. Find her. Emily looked at Maya. What happens to the archive? Maya looked down at Emily's paper notebook. It's not staying with one person. Emily understood. That means nobody gets to use it as leverage. Exactly. Maya turned toward the federal team. Secure the archive. Verify every copy. Document every transfer. No single person controls the original, the backup, or the evidence chain. For the first time, Emily smiled faintly. Evelyn had spent the entire night making sure everyone depended on information they did not fully understand. Maya intended to remove that power from all of them. The truth would no longer belong to whoever could hide it best. It would belong to the record. The evidence room was quiet by the time the final transfers began. Maya stood beside the federal analyst while each file was verified, copied, logged, and placed under separate controls. Emily remained nearby with her paper notebook, answering questions only when she was certain of the information. Nothing was left to memory. Every document had a source. Every digital file had a record. Every transfer had a witness. Maya watched the process carefully. Who has access to the master archive? The analyst checked the screen. No single person has unrestricted access. Good. The original is secured separately from the working copy. The backup is under independent control. Document that. It is already documented. Maya nodded. Emily looked at the growing record on the table. So, nobody can simply take it? Not without leaving evidence of what they did. Emily looked relieved. That may be the first thing tonight that actually makes sense. Maya almost smiled. Across the building, Mercer remained in federal custody. His attempt to manufacture evidence had already been preserved through multiple recordings and witness statements. Noah's cooperation had been documented separately, including the actions that made him part of the raid. Noah had not escaped responsibility. He had simply stopped making it worse. Chief Helen Ward was being interviewed by federal investigators. She had admitted that she concealed departmental misconduct and interfered with internal accountability in an attempt to protect the department's reputation. She had also provided records showing that someone had exploited her credentials. Her explanations did not erase her decisions. They only separated what she had actually done from what someone else had done through her authority. Evelyn Price was still being located. Maya received confirmation that investigators had identified several systems she had used to move information between Mercer, Kane, municipal employees, and federal contacts. Her actions had helped expose corruption. They had also compromised investigations and given her unlawful influence over events she did not control. Maya did not see a contradiction. Evelyn had crossed a line when she decided that knowing the truth gave her the right to manipulate everyone around it. Victor Kane's network was collapsing under the weight of its own records. Financial transfers, shell companies, contractor payments, and communications had created a trail far wider than the original investigation had shown. Kane had tried to solve the problem with money. That option was gone. A federal prosecutor entered the room carrying a folder. "We have enough to move forward with the broader investigation." Maya nodded. "And, Emily, the witness protection team is preparing the next stage of her placement." Emily heard that and looked toward Maya. "What happens to the house?" Maya looked around. The same walls Mercer had searched now held a very different meaning. "It goes back to being a home." Emily gave a tired smile. "After everything that happened here?" "Eventually." Emily looked toward the hallway. "Do you think it will ever feel normal again?" Maya considered the question. "I don't know." Emily nodded. "That's more honest than most answers I've gotten tonight." Maya looked at the porch camera on a nearby monitor. The front door was closed. The porch light remained on. For the first time since the raid began, nobody was waiting outside. Emily held the paper notebook against her chest. "You know what bothers me?" "What?" "All night, everyone kept trying to control the same thing. The evidence? The truth." Maya looked at her. Emily continued. "Mercer wanted to control the report. Ward wanted to control the damage to the department. Kane wanted to control the evidence. Evelyn wanted to control everybody who knew it." Maya nodded. "And you?" Maya was quiet for a moment. "I wanted to make sure nobody could control it alone." Emily looked at her. "That sounds like justice." Maya answered carefully. "Justice isn't fair in the way people wish it were." Emily waited. "It can't give people back the years they lost. It can't erase every decision that was already made. It can't make everyone innocent." She looked toward the secured evidence. "But it can force power to answer for what it did." Emily nodded slowly. A federal officer entered. "Deputy Williams, the final evidence receipt has been completed." Maya accepted the document. She read it once. The archive had been received. The chain of custody had been verified. The independent backup had been secured. No single person had control over all copies. Maya placed the document on the table. Her secure phone vibrated. She looked at the screen. There was no anonymous sender. No warning. No hidden instruction. It was a routine federal confirmation. "Evidence received. Chain of custody verified." Maya read the message twice. Then she placed the phone face down. Emily watched her. "That's it? For tonight." Maya walked toward the front entrance. She paused with her hand near the door. The house was quiet now. No shouting came from the hallway. No officer demanded access. No encrypted alert appeared on the phone. Emily stood behind her. "When you received that first message, did you know how any of this would end?" Maya turned. "No." "Then why didn't you leave?" Maya looked toward the door Mercer had forced open earlier. "Because someone wanted me afraid enough to run." Emily waited. Maya continued. "Fear is useful information, but it doesn't get to make my decisions." Emily gave a small nod. Maya opened the door. The porch light was still on. She looked outside for a moment, then stepped onto the porch. There was no one waiting there. No hidden instruction. No vehicle sitting at the gate. Just the quiet entrance to a house that had been treated like a crime scene and would now have to become a home again. Behind her, Emily carried the notebook into the living room. Maya closed the door gently. The night had begun with a corrupt officer believing a badge gave him the right to decide who was guilty. It had continued with a powerful businessman believing money could decide who was worth protecting. And it had revealed a woman who believed possessing the truth gave her the right to decide how everyone else should use it. None of them had understood the same principle. A badge does not place anyone above the law. Money does not purchase innocence. And information does not belong to the person who controls it first. Justice begins when every person is forced to answer for what they chose to do. Not what they intended. Not what they believed. What they chose. The lesson from Maya's story is simple. Power does not make someone right. And authority does not place anyone above the law. Loyalty without conscience can become complicity. And information without integrity can become another form of control. True justice begins when people have the courage to tell the truth, accept responsibility for their choices, and protect what is right, even when silence would be easier. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end of this story. I hope it gave you something to think about and reminded you that quiet courage can sometimes be stronger than power. If you enjoyed the way this story was told, we would truly appreciate your thoughts. Please tell us what you liked, what we could improve, and how you feel about the pacing, narration, and emotional moments. And if you have a powerful, inspiring, or unforgettable story of your own, please share it with our channel. Your story may become the next one we tell, and it may give someone else the courage to believe that justice is still possible. This video is a work of fiction created with the assistance of artificial intelligence. All characters, events, and situations are not real and do not represent any actual people or true stories. The content is intended for storytelling and emotional illustration only.